Can everyone please stand up? Okay, thank you. You can sit down now. So something very interesting has just happened. You didn't know why, or maybe you didn't even want to stand up in the first place. However, you still stood up anyways, in which I thank you a lot in following my obnoxious instructions. However, there's two reasons why you stood up. Firstly, you stood up obviously because I told you to stand up. But the unique part of this is that I'm not anyone who's just sitting right next to you, because if I were, then you wouldn't stand up at all. However, I'm on the stage right now, and as listeners, you guys followed my instructions and conformed to authority. Now, the second reason why you guys stood up is because everyone else stood up, and you don't want to be the only one sitting down. This is conformity to group pressure. So you see, conformity is a topic that we've talked about a lot. Many people in the past have investigated in it, made speech about it, even wrote books about it. So today, I'm first going to explore the aspect of the traditional way in viewing conformity, how conformity can be harmful, and why we should not conform. Now, second, I'm going to take a newer lens in looking at conformity. I'm going to look at conformity as something good and why we should not conform. And third, I'm going to bring them all together and provide a middle ground between the two extremes, a solvency for this complicated issue. So first, conformity and why it's harmful. So personally, I have always conformed. It started with very puny things like pretending to hate pink and refusing to wear it because every other second grader at that time hated the color. Or it can be intellectual conformity, such as purposefully mispronouncing words just so I can fit into this group that weren't exactly fluent at English, pronouncing simple words like maple into maple. Okay, so this is how conformity has impacted my life thus far in childhood. It's not necessarily good or bad, just not very genuine to myself. However, as I grew, conformity grew as well. Not only did society seem to demand more of me as I grew older, but I also became more self-conscious of my differences with other people and wanted them more to fit in. It reached a tipping point. As a new student in a new school, I wanted to grasp the trend of everything around me and wanted to fit in. However, everyone's so different. It became a very exhausting and tiring process to try and predict and agree with what everyone's going to do. And moreover, after 1 year, I realized that my life is pretty pathetic. Not only, I didn't even dare to disagree with anyone on anything. So that summer, of course, I changed, and I'm not going to go down those cliche sayings that, oh, be different, be unique, be yourself. But I'm just saying that you get my point. Conforming can be very harmful sometimes, and not conforming can simply be easier and more enjoyable. So that's how conformity impacted me personally. However, conformity's impacts can affect millions of lives. In World War II, Hitler had fanatical ideas about ethnic cleansing. However, he is just one man. He cannot wipe out an entire nation of Jewish people. So what he did was pretty smart. So basically he used conformity, and the Nazi soldiers obviously weren't inherently evil. However, they followed and conformed into their role as a soldier. They listened to the ideas of their commanders, to the instructions of their commanders without processing it themselves, and did not question it at all. And this resulted in millions and millions of deaths. So after this tragedy happened, we realized, on humanity as a whole, we realized that we should not make those mistakes again. We started condemning conformity more. And as the world globalizes, the population increases, and as we started emphasizing more on individualism, we realized that perhaps it's better to be different, to be unique. And this is obviously a very positive change. However, sometimes there's too much of it. There's too much of this trying to be different mindset that we sacrifice too much to be different, and sometimes it even defeats the ultimate purpose of not conforming, which is to stay true to yourself. Because if you think about it, if you're changing your opinions just to be not part of another group, you're being reactive and not active of your own solutions. You are still controlled by societal pressure. So I call this non-conforming conformity. So again, it starts off with really little things, like For example, the next door boy who yells, "I hate Frozen," every time he hears Let It Go plays. Or, for example, the YouTuber who shaves off all her hair just to gain more publicity, gain more views, and stand out, despite not actually perhaps genuinely liking her head being bald. So again, conformity's impacts isn't only on an individual level, right? It can also extend to a whole government, a whole nation. Kim Jong-un does not want to be an average leader, nor does he want North Korea to be an average country. So what he did was create large destructive nuclear weapons to terrorize everything. However, what did he achieve on being different? Did he give us more enlightening ideas? Did he lead us in a way that we would want to follow? Absolutely not. What he did was terrorize outside nations and at the expense of starving his own people, just for the sake of being different. So what I told you today may seem very self-contradicting. First, I said conformity is bad, we shouldn't conform. Then I said not conforming can also be harmful. So what should we do? I feel pretty confused right now, right? So the answer is pretty simple. You compare your initial thoughts with the thoughts of society, and then you see if you want to keep, replace, or merge them all together. You actively choose which one you want to keep and which one you genuinely like. And stay active instead of reactive. So what if you say, I don't know what my initial thoughts are? What if you say, what if I'm unconsciously influenced by societal pressures that I don't even know what my raw ideas are? So here's a simple method taught to me by my debate coach. So he said that after looking at the debate topic, don't dive into the research packet. Don't even discuss with your peers. Just focus on your own work. Plan and brainstorm individually, and after you jot down the ideas, you can readily be exposed to outside sources and other people's ideas. So what this does is that it kind of keeps outside sources from corrupting your initial ideas. So apply this method into daily life. Apply it to every aspect. For example, when you're shopping for clothes, don't ask your friend for their opinions first before you actually think about it yourself if you genuinely like it, and then you can compare the two opinions. When you're, for example, writing a literature analysis, don't turn to SparkNotes, don't ask for your friend's homework. First, do it yourself, unless you don't care about the project, which is totally fine by me, but if you do care, please first think to yourself if you actually like this idea. Please reflect out your raw ideas. So if we apply and practice this method into daily life constantly, soon we'll be able to be active in choosing what we want to say, what our life choices are, and ultimately shaping our own life for ourselves. So today I dare you to do two things. First, I dare you to be true to yourself, and secondly, to stubbornly and proudly wear pink if that's what you like. Thank you.